Picture this. November 30th, 2022. A small team at OpenAI presses launch on a chatbot they have been building. Within 24 hours, 100,000 people are using it. Within 5 days, 1 million. Within 2 months, 100 million. ChatGPT did not just go viral. It rewrote the rules of technology adoption. Netflix took 3.5 years to reach 1 million users. Facebook took 10 months. Instagram took 2.5 months. ChatGPT did it in 5 days. This is the story of OpenAI, where a non-profit founded by Elon Musk and Sam Altman in a San Francisco apartment became a $90 billion empire that changed the world. But the journey was not smooth. There were betrayals, boardroom coups, and a November 2023 weekend that nearly destroyed everything. Let us rewind to December 2015. The setting is a modest office in San Francisco's Mission District. Around a conference table sit some of the biggest names in tech. Elon Musk, fresh off SpaceX and Tesla successes. Sam Altman, the 30-year-old president of Y Combinator, Silicon Valley's most prestigious startup accelerator. Greg Brockman, former chief technology officer of Stripe. Ilya Sutskever, a brilliant AI researcher from Google. And a few others, all united by a single fear. Artificial intelligence might destroy humanity. This was not science fiction paranoia. By 2015, AI was advancing rapidly. Google had DeepMind, which had just beaten humans at Atari games. Facebook was pouring billions into AI research. Chinese companies were racing to catch up. The concern was not whether AI would become powerful, but who would control it when it did. Elon Musk was particularly worried. He had been reading about AI safety, attending conferences, talking to researchers. His conclusion was stark. If AI development continued unchecked by corporations chasing profits, humanity might not survive the outcome. Sam Altman shared the concern, but saw it differently. Where Elon saw existential threat, Sam saw opportunity for intervention. If AI was going to be built anyway, why not build it the right way, with safety at the core, with humanity's interests first, without the corrupting influence of shareholders demanding quarterly returns? The solution they proposed was radical. OpenAI would be a nonprofit. No shareholders, no pressure for profits, just pure research published openly for the world to see. The name itself was a statement of intent. Open meant transparent, collaborative, democratic, not locked behind corporate walls like Google's DeepMind or Facebook's AI research. The founding team committed $1 billion over time, with Elon Musk pledging $100 million as the initial anchor. It was the largest nonprofit AI research initiative in history. Their mission statement was clear. Advance digital intelligence in the way that is most likely to benefit humanity as a whole, unconstrained by a need to generate financial return. They rented office space in the Mission District, a neighborhood known more for burritos than breakthroughs. The early team was small, maybe 20 people. Researchers mostly, PhDs from Stanford, MIT, Google. They worked long hours for salaries far below what they could earn at tech giants, but they believed in the mission. The first challenge was recruiting. How do you convince top AI talent to leave $500,000 Google salaries for a non-profit, paying $150,000? The answer was purpose. Researchers tired of building better ad targeting algorithms saw OpenAI as a chance to work on something meaningful. Ilya Sutskever, one of the world's leading deep learning experts, left Google to become OpenAI's chief scientist. It was a coup. The first 2 years were humbling. OpenAI published research papers, open-sourced code, and made incremental progress. But there was no breakthrough product, no viral moment, just expensive research with uncertain outcomes. By 2017, they had burned through tens of millions with little to show outsiders. Internally, though, the team was making progress on something called Generative Pre-trained Transformers, or GPT. The idea was simple but powerful. Train a neural network on massive amounts of text from the internet, teaching it to predict what word comes next. Do this billions of times and something remarkable happens. The model starts to understand language, context, even reasoning. In June 2018, OpenAI released GPT-1. It had 117 million parameters, making it one of the largest language models at the time. It could generate coherent paragraphs, answer questions, and even write simple code. Tech insiders were impressed. The rest of the world barely noticed, but cracks were forming in the foundation. Running an AI research lab was expensive. Very expensive. Training large models required massive computing power. GPUs, the specialized chips that power AI, cost millions. Cloud computing bills ran into millions more. By 2018, OpenAI was spending $50 million a year with no revenue. The $1 billion commitment was not going to last forever. Elon Musk saw the problem clearly. In early 2018, he proposed a solution. Merge OpenAI with Tesla. Tesla had resources, manufacturing expertise, and Elon's full attention. OpenAI would become Tesla's AI division, working on self-driving cars and robotics. Sam Altman and the board rejected the idea. They feared losing independence, becoming just another corporate AI lab. Elon, frustrated, made a counteroffer. Let him take full control as CEO. Again, the board said no. In February 2018, Elon Musk resigned from OpenAI's board. Publicly, it was framed as avoiding conflicts of interest with Tesla's AI work. Privately, it was a power struggle. Elon wanted control. Sam and the board wanted autonomy. Elon left but kept his financial commitment, at least initially. The relationship, once warm, turned icy. By 2019, OpenAI faced an existential crisis. They needed hundreds of millions to stay competitive. Google's DeepMind was spending $500 million a year. Facebook's AI division had unlimited resources. OpenAI's nonprofit structure was becoming a liability. Top researchers were leaving for higher-paying jobs. Recruiting was getting harder. The mission was in jeopardy. Sam Altman proposed a radical solution. Create a for-profit arm. Not a traditional company, but a capped profit structure. Investors could make returns, but only up to 100 times their investment. Any profits beyond that would go to the nonprofit. It was a compromise between pure mission and practical reality. The announcement in March 2019 was controversial. Critics accused OpenAI of betraying its founding principles. Elon Musk was particularly vocal, tweeting that OpenAI had become the opposite of what it promised. OpenAI should be more open, he wrote with bitter irony. But Sam defended the decision. Without funding, there would be no OpenAI at all. A capped profit model was better than shutting down or selling to a tech giant. The new structure attracted investors immediately. Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn co-founder, invested. Khosla Ventures came in. But the big fish was Microsoft. In July 2019, Microsoft announced a $1 billion investment in OpenAI, with exclusive cloud computing rights. OpenAI would run all its training on Microsoft Azure. Microsoft would get early access to OpenAI's models for its products. It was a win-win. OpenAI got the resources it needed. Microsoft got cutting-edge AI technology. But it also marked a turning point. OpenAI was no longer purely mission-driven. It had investors, revenue targets, and a corporate partner with its own agenda. February 2020, while the world was starting to panic about COVID-19, OpenAI was training a monster. GPT-3 had 175 billion parameters, 1,500 times larger than GPT-1. The training cost $12 million in computing alone, possible only because of Microsoft's investment. When GPT-3 launched in June 2020, it stunned the AI community. GPT-3 could write essays, poems, and code. It could answer questions, translate languages, and even do basic math. Give it a prompt and it would generate text almost indistinguishable from human writing. Developers got access through an API, a programming interface that let them build applications on top of GPT-3. Thousands of developers signed up. Companies built tools for writing marketing copy, generating code, creating chatbots. A startup called Jasper used GPT-3 to generate blog posts, growing to $40 million in annual revenue within a year. Another, Copy.ai, raised millions in venture funding. OpenAI had created a platform, and an entire ecosystem was growing on top of it. But GPT-3 had a problem. It was not accessible to regular people. You needed to be a developer to use the API. You needed to know how to code, how to craft prompts, how to integrate it into applications. For non-technical users, GPT-3 might as well not exist. Internally, OpenAI's researchers saw the potential for something more. What if GPT-3 could be made conversational? What if anyone could use it just by typing questions? The idea seemed simple, but the execution was complex. Making AI conversational required a technique called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF. Here is how it worked. Human trainers would have conversations with the AI, rating responses as good or bad. The model would learn from this feedback, adjusting its behavior to be more helpful, more accurate, more human-like. It was tedious, expensive work. OpenAI hired hundreds of contractors to conduct these conversations, spending millions on training. November 30th, 2022. The OpenAI team had been testing their conversational model internally for months. Sam Altman thought it was impressive, but was not sure how the public would react. They had done soft launches before, releasing research previews that got modest attention. ChatGPT would be another experiment, they figured. They set up a simple website, chatgpt.com. A text box. No login required initially. Just type in the AI responds. Sam tweeted the link at 9 a.m. Pacific time. ChatGPT is available today. Talk to it. It is amazing. Within an hour, the servers were struggling. Thousands of people were trying it simultaneously. Write me a poem about programmers. Explain quantum physics like I am 5. Help me debug this code. ChatGPT answered it all. Patiently, accurately, conversationally. By the end of day 1, 100,000 people had used ChatGPT. Tech Twitter was exploding. Screenshots of impressive conversations went viral. By day 5, 1 million users. The growth was exponential, unlike anything seen before. Instagram took 2.5 months to reach 1 million. ChatGPT did it in 5 days. The reasons for ChatGPT's explosion were multiple. First, timing. People were tired of pandemic restrictions, looking for novel entertainment. Second, accessibility. Anyone with a browser could use it. No technical knowledge required. Third, quality. ChatGPT was genuinely useful. Students used it for homework, programmers for debugging, writers for brainstorming. But there was also something deeper. ChatGPT felt like the future. For years, people had been promised AI assistants. Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant, all disappointing. ChatGPT delivered. It understood context, nuance, complex questions. Conversations felt natural. Within 2 months, ChatGPT had 100 million users, making it the fastest-growing application in history. OpenAI's servers were melting. They had to implement usage caps, then require logins, then launch a paid tier at $20 per month. Even at $20, millions subscribed.
ChatGPT Plus generated hundreds of millions in revenue. January 2023.
Just 2 months after ChatGPT's launch, Microsoft made its move. A $10 billion investment in OpenAI, the largest AI deal in history. The terms were aggressive. Microsoft would own 49% of OpenAI's for-profit arm, up from about 20%. They would get 75% of profits until their investment was recouped. Then the split would adjust. OpenAI's valuation, $29 billion. Microsoft was not just investing for returns. They saw strategic value. Google dominated search with 90% market share. Bing, Microsoft's search engine, was an afterthought. But with ChatGPT, Microsoft saw an opportunity to disrupt search itself. February 2023, Microsoft announced the new Bing, powered by GPT-4, OpenAI's latest model. Instead of 10 blue links, Bing would answer questions conversationally, with sources cited. It was a direct assault on Google's core business. Google panicked, rushing out their own chatbot Bard, which launched poorly and lost them $100 billion in market cap in a single day. Microsoft also integrated OpenAI's technology across its product line. Windows 11 got an AI assistant. Office 365 added Copilot, which could write emails, summarize documents, create PowerPoint slides. GitHub, owned by Microsoft, launched Copilot for Code, which could write entire functions from comments. Every Microsoft product was getting an AI upgrade. For OpenAI, the Microsoft partnership was transformative. The $10 billion meant years of runway, but it also meant dependence. Microsoft controlled the computing infrastructure. If Azure went down, ChatGPT went down. Microsoft also had exclusive access to OpenAI's models, integrating them before competitors could access the API. By mid-2023, OpenAI's valuation had soared to $90 billion in private secondary markets. Employees' stock was worth fortunes on paper. Sam Altman, who had taken no equity initially, now held a small stake worth hundreds of millions. The nonprofit that started in a Mission District office was now one of the world's most valuable companies. Success breeds conflict, and OpenAI was no exception. By fall 2023, internal tensions were rising. The rapid commercialization worried some researchers. Was OpenAI prioritizing profit over safety? The Microsoft partnership felt constraining, and Sam Altman's growing celebrity status rubbed some the wrong way. Ilya Sutskever, OpenAI's chief scientist and one of its founders, was particularly concerned. Ilya had always been the mission's true believer. AI safety was his life's work. He had joined OpenAI precisely because it was non-profit, mission first. The pivot to capped profit had troubled him, but he had accepted it as necessary. The Microsoft deal felt different. Microsoft, a $2 trillion corporation, had veto power over key decisions. How could OpenAI maintain its independence? There were also tensions over AGI, artificial general intelligence. OpenAI's charter stated that if they achieved AGI, AI that could outperform humans at most tasks, they would stop competing and start assisting other AI safety-focused projects. But what defined AGI? Was GPT-4 close? Some researchers thought so, others disagreed. Sam Altman, meanwhile, was everywhere. Congressional testimonies, world tours, meetings with heads of state. He was raising hundreds of millions for a new chip venture, designing AI-specific processors. Some at OpenAI felt he was distracted, spreading himself too thin. Others resented his growing personal brand, seeing it as ego-driven. The board was also unusual. Unlike typical corporate boards, OpenAI's was majority independent. Sam was not even on it initially. The board's job was to ensure OpenAI stuck to its mission, not maximize shareholder value. Members included Ilya Sutskever, Adam D'Angelo, who is Quora CEO, Tasha McCauley, tech entrepreneur, and Helen Toner, AI safety researcher. By November 2023, the board faced a question. Was Sam Altman the right person to lead OpenAI through the next phase? Or had he become too commercial, too focused on growth over safety?
Friday, November 17th, 2023, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Sam Altman receives a Google Meet link. He clicks. On the screen, the OpenAI board. Ilya Sutskever, Adam D'Angelo, Tasha McCauley, Helen Toner. They look grim. Sam, we have decided to remove you as CEO, one says. No preamble, no warning, just the decision. Sam is stunned. Why, he asks. The answer is vague. You have not been consistently candid in your communications with the board. Translation, we do not trust you. Within minutes, OpenAI's blog posts the announcement. Sam Altman is out. Mira Murati, OpenAI's CTO, is interim CEO. Greg Brockman, OpenAI's president and Sam's closest ally, resigns in protest. The tech world explodes. Twitter is chaos. News outlets scramble. Nobody saw this coming. Saturday, November 18th. Sam and Greg are at a hotel in San Francisco trying to process. Messages pour in, offers of support. Investors demanding explanations. Employees in shock. Meanwhile, the board is scrambling. They need a permanent CEO. They approach Emmett Shear, former Twitch CEO, who agrees to consider it. Sunday, November 19th. OpenAI's employees revolt. A letter circulates. Unless the board resigns and Sam returns, we quit. By evening, 500 of OpenAI's 770 employees have signed. Then 600. Then 700. Even Ilya Sutskever, who voted to fire Sam, signs. I deeply regret my participation in the board's actions, he tweets. Microsoft is furious. Satya Nadella, Microsoft's CEO, calls the board. Their $13 billion investment is in jeopardy. If OpenAI collapses, Microsoft's AI strategy collapses. Satya makes a bold move. He announces Microsoft will hire Sam and Greg to lead a new AI research division. If OpenAI implodes, Microsoft gets the talent. Monday, November 20th. The board is cornered. 90% of employees are threatening to leave. Microsoft is offering an escape hatch. Customers are panicking. The board blinks. Negotiations begin. Conditions are set. Sam can return, but the board must change. New members, more favorable to Sam. Tuesday, November 21st, it is done. Sam Altman is back as CEO. The old board is out except Adam D'Angelo. New members include Brett Taylor, former Salesforce co-CEO, and Larry Summers, former Treasury Secretary. Ilya Sutskever is off the board but remains at OpenAI. His relationship with Sam strained. 5 days. That is how long OpenAI's civil war lasted. It was the fastest, most public corporate coup reversal in tech history. Sam had won, but the victory was messy. Trust was broken. The mission felt secondary to power struggles. The November 2023 coup attempt left scars. Ilya Sutskever, once Sam's close collaborator, was sidelined. By May 2024, he would announce his departure from OpenAI to start a new AI safety company. Greg Brockman took a sabbatical, returning months later. The board was now packed with Sam allies, making future rebellions unlikely. But the incident revealed deep questions. What was OpenAI's real mission? Was it building safe AGI, or was it building a tech empire? Could you do both? The coup's trigger was trust, but the underlying issue was direction. For employees, the aftermath was surreal. They had nearly quit en masse to support Sam, turning him into a folk hero. But some wondered if they had backed the right side. Had they prioritized loyalty over mission? Was concentration of power in Sam's hands good for AI safety? For Microsoft, the chaos was a wake-up call. Relying solely on OpenAI was risky. They accelerated internal AI development, hiring key researchers from DeepMind and Google. They also got more seats in OpenAI's governance, ensuring future board decisions could not blindside them. For Sam, the coup was validation and warning. Validation that employees believed in him. Warning that not everyone did. He emerged more powerful but also more cautious. Public statements emphasized safety, collaboration, responsibility. The cowboy era was over. The corporate era had begun. ChatGPT, meanwhile, kept growing. By early 2024, it had 180 million weekly users. ChatGPT Plus subscribers exceeded 3 million, generating over $60 million monthly. Businesses were paying for ChatGPT Enterprise at $30 per user per month. OpenAI's annual revenue was approaching $2 billion. March 2023. Before the coup, OpenAI had released GPT-4. It was a massive leap. GPT-4 could process images, not just text. Show it a photo of your fridge, ask what you can cook, and it would suggest recipes. It scored in the 90th percentile on the bar exam, the 99th on GRE verbal. It could write complex code, debug errors, and even pass university-level exams. But GPT-4 also highlighted AI's limitations. It still hallucinated, making up facts confidently. It could not browse the internet in real time without plugins. It had no long-term memory across conversations. And it could not reason about truly novel problems the way humans could. Competitors were not standing still. Google released Gemini, claiming it outperformed GPT-4 on benchmarks. Anthropic, founded by ex-OpenAI researchers who had leftover safety concerns, launched Claude, emphasizing harmlessness. Meta open-sourced Llama 2, giving developers a free alternative. Chinese companies like Alibaba released Qwen, training on Chinese data. The AI race was global, and OpenAI's lead was narrowing. Sam Altman's response was ambitious: build GPT-5, an order of magnitude more capable. But training GPT-5 would cost $1 billion or more. It would require new chips, new data centers, new cooling systems, and it would raise safety questions. If GPT-4 was powerful, what would GPT-5 be? Fall 2023, Sam Altman was not just focused on OpenAI. He was raising money for a new venture, designing custom AI chips. Existing chips made by NVIDIA were bottlenecking AI development. They were expensive, scarce, and power-hungry. Sam wanted to change that. His pitch: raise $5 billion to $7 billion, partner with chip manufacturers like TSMC, and design processors optimized specifically for training large language models. The chips would be faster, cheaper, and more efficient than NVIDIA's. OpenAI would be the first customer, but others could buy them too. The project was wildly ambitious. Chip design takes years. Manufacturing capacity is limited, and NVIDIA had a 30-year head start. But Sam was convincing. He met with Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds, Japanese conglomerates, and American chip executives. By early 2024, reports suggested he had secured commitments for billions. This worried some at OpenAI. Sam was CEO, but his attention was divided. Board meetings were missed. Strategy sessions postponed. Some executives felt sidelined. The chip venture felt like Sam's personal project, not OpenAI's. And if it succeeded, would Sam leave to run the chip company? The November 2023 coup attempt was partly about this. Board members worried Sam was building a Sam Altman empire, not an OpenAI mission. The chip venture, the celebrity status, the world tours, it all felt like ego, not safety-first thinking. AI safety had always been OpenAI's founding principle. But by 2024, safety was secondary to speed. New models were released faster. Safety testing was shorter. External audits were rare. The pressure to compete with Google, Anthropic, and Chinese labs overrode caution. Former employees started speaking out. In May 2024, 2 key safety researchers resigned, posting public statements. They claimed OpenAI had become just another tech company, prioritizing products over principles. One wrote, "We are building AGI-level systems without adequate safety measures. It is reckless." Sam defended OpenAI's approach. "We are the most cautious AI company," he told Congress. "We red team our models extensively. We work with external experts. We have paused deployment when risks were identified." But critics pointed to contradictions. OpenAI had stopped publishing safety research, citing competitive concerns. The company that preached openness was now secretive. The debate came to a head with super-alignment, an initiative Ilya Sutskever had championed before his departure. The goal? Ensure that future AI systems, potentially smarter than humans, remained aligned with human values. OpenAI pledged 20% of computing resources to super-alignment. But after Ilya left, the project stalled. Resources were redirected to GPT-5 training. This was the core tension. OpenAI wanted to build safe AGI, but it also wanted to win the AI race. Those goals often conflicted. Safety required going slow, testing thoroughly, and sometimes not releasing models. Winning required moving fast, launching aggressively, and beating competitors to market. By 2024, OpenAI was not just a research lab. It was a software company with a software-as-a-service business model. ChatGPT Plus at $20 per month. ChatGPT Enterprise at $30 per user per month. API access charge per token per request. DALL-E image generation at 2 cents per image. Revenue was diversified, recurring, and growing 50% quarter over quarter. But costs were astronomical. Training GPT-4 cost $100 million. Running ChatGPT for millions of users cost $700,000 per day. Over $250 million annually. Employee salaries, with AI researchers commanding $500,000 to $2 million, added hundreds of millions more. Data centers, GPUs, and electricity pushed costs higher. OpenAI was burning cash despite the revenue. They needed continuous funding. Microsoft's investment helped, but it came with strings. Microsoft took 75% of profits until their investment was recouped. After that, the split adjusted, but Microsoft always took the lion's share. OpenAI, despite being worth $90 billion, was not profitable. To bridge the gap, OpenAI explored new revenue streams, licensing models to enterprises like Salesforce and Shopify, building custom models for governments, offering fine-tuning services, even considering advertising within ChatGPT. Though that idea was shelved after internal pushback, the business pressure was reshaping OpenAI. Decisions were driven by revenue, not just research. Features users would pay for got priority. Academic projects were deprioritized. The nonprofit arm, still technically in control, felt increasingly irrelevant. The for-profit tail was wagging the nonprofit dog. OpenAI's success attracted regulatory scrutiny. In the United States, the FTC investigated whether OpenAI's data collection violated privacy laws. The SEC examined disclosure practices. Congress held hearings with Sam Altman testifying multiple times. He walked a tightrope, acknowledging risks to appease regulators while downplaying dangers to avoid restrictive laws. Europe was stricter. The European Union's AI Act, passed in 2023, classified foundation models like GPT-4 as high risk, requiring transparency, audits, and safety measures. OpenAI had to disclose training data sources, energy consumption, and model limitations. Non-compliance meant fines up to 6% of global revenue. China was a different challenge. OpenAI could not operate there directly. The Great Firewall blocked ChatGPT. Chinese companies like Baidu and Alibaba filled the gap with local models. But Chinese users found workarounds using VPNs to access ChatGPT. OpenAI turned a blind eye, unwilling to block users but wary of antagonizing Beijing. The regulatory landscape was fragmenting. What was legal in the United States might be banned in Europe. What worked in democracies might be censored in authoritarian states. OpenAI needed to navigate 50-plus jurisdictions, each with different rules. It was compliance hell, adding legal costs and slowing releases. Sam Altman became OpenAI's chief diplomat, traveling to Brussels, Tokyo, Abu Dhabi, and New Delhi. He met with regulators, explaining AI's benefits and committing to safety standards. His message was consistent: regulate but do not stifle innovation. Set safety guardrails but let the technology evolve. By mid-2024, the AI landscape was crowded. Google's Gemini was competitive with GPT-4, integrated into Gmail, Docs, and Search. Anthropic's Claude was beloved by developers for its helpfulness and safety focus. Meta's Llama 3, open-sourced, powered thousands of applications. Even startups like Mistral in France and Cohere in Canada were nipping at OpenAI's heels. The competition forced OpenAI to innovate faster. Voice mode for ChatGPT, making conversations feel natural. Image generation with DALL-E 3 rivaling Midjourney. Code interpreter, letting ChatGPT run Python and analyze data. Memory features where ChatGPT remembered past conversations. Each feature widened the moat, but rivals copied quickly. The biggest threat was open source. Meta's decision to open source Llama meant developers could fine-tune models for specific tasks without paying OpenAI. A startup needing a customer service bot could use Llama, train it on their data, and deploy it for free. OpenAI's API pricing, while competitive, could not beat free. Sam's response was to go upmarket. Target enterprises willing to pay for reliability, support, and cutting-edge performance. Offer custom models, private deployments, and white-glove service. Let open source handle the low end. OpenAI would dominate the high end. But this strategy had risks. If open source models became good enough, enterprises might switch. The gap between GPT-4 and Llama 3 was narrowing. OpenAI needed GPT-5 to be a significant leap, not just an incremental improvement. The pressure was immense. Throughout OpenAI's rise, Elon Musk watched from the sidelines, growing increasingly bitter. He had co-founded OpenAI, pledged $100 million, and set the mission. Now Sam Altman was the face of AI, while Elon was a footnote. Worse, OpenAI had partnered with Microsoft, a company Elon despised. The non-profit he had envisioned was a for-profit juggernaut. Elon did not stay quiet. He tweeted criticisms regularly. OpenAI was supposed to be open source and non-profit. Neither is true. He accused Sam of misleading the public, prioritizing profit over safety. He even threatened to sue, claiming breach of OpenAI's founding principles. March 2024, Elon made his counter-move. xAI, his own AI company, built on Twitter's data, trained on Tesla's computing infrastructure, and staffed with researchers poached from OpenAI and DeepMind. xAI's first product, Grok, was integrated into X, formerly Twitter, giving Elon a billion-user distribution platform. Grok was different. It had personality, humor, and a rebellious streak. It answered questions other AIs would not. With fewer content restrictions, Elon positioned it as the anti-woke AI, appealing to his fan base. It was not as capable as ChatGPT, but it did not need to be. It had Elon's brand and X's reach. The rivalry was personal. Sam and Elon, once allies, were now enemies. Their feud played out on X in interviews and through proxies. Elon called Sam a liar. Sam called Elon's criticisms sour grapes. The AI world watched, entertained and horrified as two of tech's biggest egos clashed. As 2024 progressed, OpenAI's mission came into focus: achieve AGI. Artificial General Intelligence, AI that could outperform humans at most economically valuable work. GPT-4 was impressive, but it was not AGI. It could not reason from first principles, adapt to truly novel situations, or operate autonomously for extended periods. Sam Altman believed AGI was close. "We are talking years, not decades," he said in interviews. GPT-5, currently in training, would be a step closer. GPT-6 might cross the threshold. Once AGI was achieved, the world would change fundamentally. Jobs would be automated, scientific breakthroughs would accelerate, wealth would concentrate in whoever controlled AGI. This raised existential questions. If OpenAI achieved AGI first, what would they do with it? Their charter said they would stop competing and assist other safety-focused projects. But would they? With Microsoft as a partner, shareholders expecting returns and competitors racing to catch up, could OpenAI afford to stop? Critics argued OpenAI was playing with fire. Building AGI without guaranteed safety measures was reckless. Humanity might not get a second chance. But Sam countered not building AGI was riskier. If OpenAI did not do it safely, someone else would do it unsafely. Better OpenAI than a rogue nation or unscrupulous corporation. The debate was unresolved and the clock was ticking. Every quarter, AI capabilities doubled. What was science fiction in 2020 was commonplace in 2024. By 2025, AGI might not be theoretical. It might be real. And OpenAI, the nonprofit founded to ensure AI benefited humanity, would be at the center of the storm. The story of OpenAI is far from over. As of 2024, ChatGPT has 200 million weekly users. OpenAI is valued at $90 billion. Sam Altman is one of tech's most influential figures. But the journey from mission district office to global empire offers lessons worth examining. First, mission drift is inevitable under commercial pressure. OpenAI started as a nonprofit, committed to openness and safety. Today, it is a capped profit company, secretive and competitive. The shift was not malicious, it was pragmatic. But pragmatism often compromises principles. Second, speed and safety are hard to balance. OpenAI wants to build AGI safely, but also wants to beat competitors. Those goals conflict. Every delay for safety testing is a delay competitors exploit. The race dynamics incentivize cutting corners. Third, power concentrates. Sam Altman, once just an operator, now controls a company that could reshape civilization. The November 2023 coup showed how fragile checks on that power are. When employees rally around a CEO, boards become irrelevant. Fourth, technology outpaces governance. ChatGPT launched before regulators understood what it was. By the time laws were drafted, millions were using it. Governments are always playing catch-up, writing rules for yesterday's technology. Fifth, viral adoption changes everything. ChatGPT's 5-day sprint to 1 million users was not just impressive, it was transformative. Instant scale meant instant impact, but also instant scrutiny. There was no time to ease into public consciousness. The final lesson, the future is uncertain. In 2015, OpenAI was a long-shot experiment. In 2024, it is an empire. But empires fall. Competitors are gaining. Regulations are tightening. Internal conflicts persist. AGI, if achieved, could render everything obsolete. What is clear is this. OpenAI changed AI from a research curiosity to a mainstream tool. ChatGPT brought AI to the masses. Whether that is humanity's greatest achievement or its biggest mistake, only time will tell. Sam Altman's journey from Y Combinator president to AI kingmaker mirrors OpenAI's arc. Both started with idealistic missions. Both made compromises for survival. Both now stand at a crossroads. Continue the race to AGI or pause to ensure safety. The revolution that started with a 5-day sprint continues. 200 million users, $90 billion valuation. The fastest growing technology in human history. But revolutions do not always end well. Sometimes they devour their founders. Sometimes they change the world. Sometimes they do both. OpenAI's story is still being written. ChatGPT is still evolving. AGI is still theoretical. But one thing is certain. The small team that pressed launch on November 30th, 2022, changed everything. The question is what comes next.